Well, some of you did not decide to read the homework. Or listen to the homework in this case. What the heck? What the heck? But we can go over, I guess we can, since it has been a while. Also, hello. Welcome back to another night on the Gan Express. I'm Serial Local Conductor. How's it going? How's it going? Hello. Hello, let's do our greetings. Welcome in Graham, welcome in Kama, welcome in Wolfen, welcome in Fable. Welcome in. Give drink? No, this is mine. And then no one was left alive. So sad, honestly. Really sad that everyone died at the end of chapter 1. But then, Battler... I'm gonna be real with you guys. If Battler manages to fumble Beatrice, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. Like, imagine getting, imagine having a woman that much like that and fumbling it. I couldn't be me. I think I would just die. I think I would just die if I fumbled a woman like Beatrice. I think it would be over. He still refused to believe, so everyone turned into meat. That was pretty cool. It was pretty sad and pretty cool. There's a weird tension. It's palpable. I can sense it. I sense it. I know what I can feel what Ryukishio 7 is cooking here. Is this the enemies to lovers that I think about longingly? Like, I feel like a lot of my favorite like fictional pairings are like that. Like, I want to destroy you and makes me smile to fail. Yeah, Beatrice just wants to make him cry. Like, she wants to, like, she's kind of bad. I'm like, hi, ma'am. Hi, you're so fucking bad. I love you. Oh, she's the woman of all time. She's so bad. And if Battler fucks it all up, I'm gonna kill him. Myself. I know that Beatrice could eviscerate him instantly, but like, oh, the women of all time, right? Like, she's kind of, I'm like, If you didn't tell, I'm fucking crazy. I've had these brainlords living in my head for like a month since our last book club, and oh boy, I'm like, cause like, see, I always have like one of these types of, in like games like this where it's like, where like, you know, like in like, especially in like mystery, like deduction games, there's always someone that's like, where like, it's usually like the protagonist and then like their rival. And I guess Battler and Beatrice are that, because he's technically the protagonist, I guess, for now. We'll see if Beatrice gets bored of him and turns him into like a footstool or something. I'm just thinking about her. Women of all time. Women of all time, for sure. I love her. I've met her once. We've met her for like 5 minutes, but also like, hotted women alert. Hotted women in my area. On my... Oh. Una Blue, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Gan Express. Oh my goodness, this is a moment for a raid. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello Raiders, hello, hello. I hope you guys are having a lovely night. Thank you for the raid. What were you up to? Let's see. You think the bot broke? Is the bot? We've been waiting for this. Hi Zeros, welcome in. Hello, hello. Also, thank you for the raid. What are you guys playing tonight? How is it going? How was your stream? Of course, no worries if you need to raid and run. Feel free to get some water, take care of yourself, get a snack, everything you need to do. But we will be, for anyone new here, welcome in Raiders. My name is Seer. I'm your local ghost train conductor of the Demon Train, the Gehenna Express. And it's lovely to have you guys in. We are going to be starting chapter 2 of Umineko Naku Koro today. It's gonna be so much best. So much do your best to stop the witch's riddle. I will! She and the Lightbearer? Oh! That sounds familiar. Let's see. Oh, this looks super cute! Ooh, I'll have to check this game out. Oh, this looks charming. Oh, this is exciting. But yeah, we are playing, tonight we're just chatting about we're going over a kind of, I was gonna quickly review, do the spark notes, I suppose, of what happened in chapter 1. If you guys are interested, in that, I do have all of the VODs available up on the VOD channel, if anyone wants to catch up. It was so much reading, but a super cute story. Definitely recommend. Ooh, maybe I'll add that to the list of things we should play for our book club. Lots of reading games. I have to get through. Umineko is a beast in its own. This version of World, and I think of the meme that's listed far with the caption like, when your bitches, she's from Rockinjima. No, not woman from Rockinjima. I can't believe it. Umineko is pretty cute and wholesome too. I wouldn't say Umineko is cute and wholesome. Hi T, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hi. Hi. Hello. We are having a good time. I'm very excited to start this. So, we're gonna go over this. Let's go over the story so far, if you will. Viti Lunosa, welcome aboard. Welcome again, Express. I hope you're having a lovely night. Welcome in, welcome in. Battler, that witch you got me questioning if magic is real. Me as well. We were literally just talking about how if Battler fucking fumbles a baddie like Beatrice, I think I'm gonna have to kill him myself. I'm going to go there and kill him myself, I think. She's so fucking bad. I can't believe it. I'm like, hotted women in my Rockinjima? It's more likely than you think. I think Beatrice is very interested, so no way Battler fumbles. But we could always mess it up. He could always mess it up. He could always fumble it. This is Battler we're talking about. I have very little faith in him at this point. My faith in Battler, very small. What do we got for drinks tonight, you guys? I got my coffee, my classic 10 p.m. coffee. My good old 10 p.m. coffee, because it makes me comfy. It's like, for me, coffee is one of those drinks. It's one of those drinks that I find like coffee to be one of those drinks that's like really, really relaxing to drink for me. It's like a really, I kind of have like the opposite reaction to coffee and tea, because like tea is my like working drink, and then coffee is my like, oh, I want a like nice sweet treat, you know? But let's start. Well, I guess we'll go over the first chapter for people who are new, people who haven't had the chance to catch up. If you're not interested in Umineko's, I suppose it's impossible to like spoil Umineko. Basically, at the end of the, so basically the story of Umineko takes place on Rakanjima Island, where the Ushirimiya family is, their giant ass mansion is, and then they get a letter from a witch saying that she's going to take back everything owed, because their grandfather, the head of the household, made a deal with a witch, and then everyone died. There's more to it, but there's like murder mystery aspect to it. So there's lock rooms and like really strange occurrences. They done and drove the MILF population is in shambles. I know, it's awful. This is... You need a coffee darker than the farthest abandons of space or your stomach hurt. I understand. I probably shouldn't drink coffee as much as I only drink coffee on a rare occasion because it sometimes makes my stomach hurt. But for me, it's like if the coffee is too strong. But I usually like dilute it down. I have like my current coffee, my coffee of the day is a vanilla caramel latte, with a little bit of milk. It's very good. It's very tasty. I just need a little bit of Nilla, you know? A little bit of Nilla, a little bit of caramel. It's a very luxurious drink, you know? It's tasty. Oh, Valadar36, welcome forward, welcome to Gehenna Express. I hope you're having a lovely night. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm just thinking about them. The Umineko MILFs. They're just out there. They're back. We can return to the MILF population has been restored for now. I think isn't pitch black with coffee with a pinch of brown sugar turns my bowels into Umineko crime scene. That's fair. That is fair. Well, thank you for the hydrate, Valadar. Welcome in, welcome in. Let me take a sip of this. Oh, my water. The MILF population is recovering in captivity. We've artificially revived the MILF population via magic. But yeah, but this one, are they ready to be reintroduced to the wild? I mean, Rakanjima Island is their natural habitat. So it was like a private, like, it was like an on-site kind of thing. But I'm thinking about it. Oh my god. So at the end of chapter 1, basically all of the people who weren't sacrificed went to the Golden Land and had their wishes granted. Until Battler was like, actually, magic isn't real. And then everyone, Beatrice was like, oh, that's really funny. You're really cute, haha. She was literally like, oh my god, really? You don't think I'm real? Wow, tell me more, Battler. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I think the Golden Land sucks. He thought it sucked. And then Beatrice turned all of the other people that aren't Battler into a pile of meat. And reverted them to their previous forms before they died, before they were revived, which was ground into nothing, apparently. She's flirting. Oh, that's so... I love when women flirt with me. Ah, when women flirt with me and tell me to solve her little tricks and mysteries that she has put together to murder my entire family. That's so... Hi. 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 Like, if there's... Beatrice, if you're out there, please call me back. Twirls my hair. Twirls my hair very cutely. But, I love her. I love women. Oh god, I love women. Please get me a I need the fucking, MILF hat. Man, I love fishing. I'm just like I've kind of had like 3 weeks. I've had like 4 weeks to cook on Umineko, chapter 1. So I'm like, I murdered your parents and placed their corpses in a locked room. Solve the riddle of their deaths and prove that magic had no hand in this. The horniest woman you've ever met. She's so fucking real. I love that for her. I wish more women would trap me on a deserted island and force me to solve mysteries and murders. What the hell? They should start doing... People should start doing that more. I think that should be the new trend. New trend. I want women to trap me on an island and force me to do puzzles like I'm a rat in a cage for treats and enrichment. Okay. Me when a bad witch tell me to do something. Hi. Yeah, that's so fucking real. I think if Beatrice told me to do anything, I would do it without question. I would love to solve her funny little riddles and mysteries, is the thing. We're gonna move this way. I'm gonna boot this shit up. I hope you guys are ready for the gauntlet. Oh, I'm just thinking about it. I'm hoping that we don't have to go through all the exposition of the first chapter. I'm thinking about them. Umineko MILF. Oh, I'm thinking about women. Ah, thinking about women. Me always. Me too. Me too, buddy. Me too, Zeros. I'm always thinking about women. Oh yeah, on stream the other day we were talking about the physical editions of Umineko, and I'm so tempted to buy it. You're me a Nazi, I can treat you better than Kraus, please, baby girl. Listen, she needs someone better. She needs someone better than Kraus, like me. I won't put you into debt, baby girl. We've done it. Good morning. The Golden Witch eagerly awaits your arrival. Please do grant her that wish. Were you able to get a good rest and perfect your strategy? The witch expects a lot from you and is more than ready to launch an assault right from the start. I also look forward to seeing your strategy. The difficulty level is extreme. The witch intends to make you surrender all at once. Ho ho ho! Bing bong! Bing bong! I'm just thinking about her. Alright, are we all ready? Oh my god, no, Beatrice, don't make me surrender. Don't make your puzzles too hard. Oh no, what a shame. This game is about to do something awful to me because, like, if there's one thing I love in anything ever, it's like really mean women and really pathetic men. And Umineko has a lot of both. This game is about to do something so deeply wrong it's going to do something so deeply scarring to my psyche, I think. It's going to end me, I think. It's just over. Oh my gosh. The official novel buffs. So true. Stroke the flames of sadism within. That's true. I really just want to see, like, Battler cry. I kind of get it. I kind of get where Beatrice is coming from. I really just want to see, like, Battler, like, eat shit and, like, cry. You know? He's just that kind of character. His stubbornness pisses me off. I want to see him cry. We want to do this. I want this twink obliterated. We want him obliterated. That's true. We want this twink obliterated. Okie dokie. Alrighty. Are we prepared to start this eternal suffering? Chapter 2. Are we prepared? Are we ready? Are we ready for the return of Miss Beatrice? Are we ready for chapter 2? I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like, ooh. This game is gonna do something to me, and I'm not sure what. Let's do it. The butterflies before a date, for real. My date with Beatrice. This story is very obviously fictional and fantastic in nature. Any resemblance to existing individuals, organizations, locations, or interests is entirely coincidental. George-san, please look. They're so cute. Look, look. Shannon found a petter of hammerhead sharks swimming playfully in the tank. Oh, Shannon! And looked as excited as a grade schooler seeing an aquarium for the first time. Yeah, they are really cute. What are you wearing? What is with that deep V-neck cut, George? What is going on? Almost makes me want to eat them. I'd feel so sorry for them. Did you know? I hear the Japanese are the only people in the world who go to aquariums and say how delicious just as everything looks. Horrible vibes. Yeah, asked to leave Rokenshima. I don't like this fucking outfit. I think that his fashion taste is bad. Is that so? I'm sure that even Americans and Italians would want to eat these. These clothes look good on you. Really. Shannon clutched her hands at her chest with both hands in embarrassment. She apparently felt like she was being made fun of for wearing these clothes she wasn't used to. Shannon can do better, I think. I think, Shannon, you need to find a real man like me. Expected that it surprised even him, and he was as embarrassed as Shannon on the inside. We starting off with George. This is gonna be fun. However, when she saw how embarrassed Shannon was, he started to imagine he was teasing the girl he liked. Instead of embarrassment, a ticklish amusement welled up in him. Don't be a fucking creep! No, he's just imagining it. He really was teasing the girl he liked. Before now, he wouldn't have expected to hear a line like that anywhere these days, not even in a manga or anything. In fact, he'd seen another couple acting like this. His first instinct would be to start throwing rocks at them. Me! Okay, maybe George is kind of real for that. But even if someone were to start throwing rocks at us right now, I'm sure they'd be no different from confetti celebrating our relationship. Now I can't even remember those lonely days, when I felt jealous of couples who are completely oblivious to their surroundings. To use an old-fashioned phrase, these really are rose-colored days I'm living in. I'm so entranced that I barely notice that massive tank in the world's largest aquarium anymore. Instead, all I see are this expressions flitting across Shannon's face as she plays with the fish. It's amazing, isn't it? It's my first time seeing a tank large enough for a whale to swim in. I heard this tank is the biggest selling point here, and that's the biggest in the whole world. Is that so? That's amazing. It's really wonderful. It doesn't even look like a tank at all. More like they sliced up a part of the sea with a knife and brought it here. You're right. This really is a little sea. Despite its size, I hadn't thought of the tank as anything more than a tank. That's why I found her metaphor so interesting. The ocean is a cake, that's true. It does have layers. No matter how hard humans broaden their experiences, they always end up viewing the world through the lens of their own values. Maybe that's why it's so interesting to interact with people who have different worldviews. I voiced my thoughts on this. She responded. True, this may not be the real sea, but if those little guys swimming in there believe it's the sea, then that's what it is. I think that's what I was doing for Shen. I have to remember all the voices I was doing. Even though they're inside a finite tank, the sea is finite too. Then again, even if the sea were infinite, how much could we cover in our whole lives? I'm sure it'd only be a minuscule fraction of the sea. You're right. It's ironic, isn't it? Even though the world is so vast, most of us humans live our lives without leaving our own country. If the inhabitants of a place believe they're living in a complete world, then even the bottom of a narrow well can be a wonderful world, an entire ocean. At the least to the frogs that live there. Shannon, who spent her days as a servant on a small island 10 kilometers in a province called Rokkanjima, said that with a smile. Burn of the Golden Witch. Chapter 2. Shiramiya Battler. Let's fucking go! Chapter 2! I'm so excited. I feel so weird doing like voices for characters, but I feel like it adds to the experience, right? Even just like shifting my tone a little. I don't really think of it like as doing like specific character voices. I really just like kind of shift my tone to match the character's intonation. Chris Pratt as Ushiromiya Battler. Yeah, I try to like match their, like, how I think their intonation would be, and like just find something that fits their personality. I really love the crunchy background images. It really just adds. After we finished walking through the whole aquarium, we had a small late afternoon lunch at a restaurant with a nice... The word buffet has the power to make any boy's heart leap. I was like that myself once. With Shannon beside me, this buffet felt different. I couldn't shamefully pile on only the things I liked. I was, how should I put it, worried about my appearance and choose a menu suited for a snob. Toast, salad, and coffee. If I'd been by myself, I would have made a pile of oily yuck stuff like yakisoba, mashed potatoes, gratin, and so on. Shannon, is that gonna be enough for you? If it is, then I guess we are men with our animals with really bad fuel efficiency. That's not what I... On Shannon's tray there was only tea and salad. Maybe the mere fact that she thought I was a whole shade short proved that I was thinking with a man's stomach. Actually, I should be asking you the same thing. Don't you think men should eat a little bit more than that? I imagine you normally eat much more for lunch, right? Oh, right, dang. Come to think of it, you already know how much I eat normally because of the meals I've had at the head family household. That's right. So I was worried you might have an upset stomach today. Shannon was kind enough to guess that I wasn't feeling well. Looks like my stupid attempts to show off made her worry. Apparently my stomach wasn't going to let me show off any longer. Okay, I'll confess. I was just trying to look cool. I held back because I was with a girl. I thought so. Considering how much you eat during the lunch at family conferences, I thought that this wasn't nearly enough. Please don't be so reserved and feel free to go choose another dish. Cowards devour the entire animal together. That's romance there. It's not fair for only me to be embarrassed. What about you, Shannon? How will you be able to keep up with the Ushiri family world on such a sparse diet? Shannon fell silent and blushed bright red. Apparently I wasn't the only one showing off. When I realized that, my embarrassment disappeared completely. Oh, so that's not enough for you either, is it? Yeah, you usually eat a bit more than this for lunch. Element's stomach is made of magic, so this is enough. So we've both been showing off to each other. Let's not hold back anymore, shall we? I can't remember the full song, but I do remember that part. Been told when this is, but there has been no conference shown yet. Yeah, I'm assuming this is like before? Pre-conference? Maybe? I smiled to show that I wouldn't make fun of her anymore and rose from my seat. After finally coming to Okinawa, it'd be a waste if we didn't eat some bitter melon. I'll go get some fried bitter melon or something. Shannon, come with me. Come on, come on. Oh, yes. To everyone watching us, we might seem like an incredibly charming and embarrassing couple. But it's only after becoming a couple you realize, to us, this exchange of words is everything, our entire world. That's why no matter how much everyone else stares at us with blank expressions, we never notice. Indeed, at this age, I finally understand the feelings of couples who don't want to endlessly flirt without any regard for their surroundings. After I returned with a plate piled up with fried food, Shannon arrived with a pretty cake. While laughing at our fake stoicism, we resumed our lunch. Even though it's a restaurant with a view of the sea, it's so cloudy. Luckily, our window seats gave us a view of the seaside scenery so grandiose that it extended even beyond our field of vision. However, because of the cloudy sky, we were only seeing a fraction of its usual beauty. That's right. If it were clear, we'd undoubtedly see a deep blue sea. Yep, I'll bet you. I bet you're already used to the sea around Markanjima, but the deep blue of the sea here would have surely been a sight to see. It's a real shame. Oh, but no matter how the blue of the sea is at work, it might as well be gray to me. But I'm not working today, so... Apparently Shannon was doing her best to say an embarrassing line, but I didn't let her get off easy. So close. If only you said one watching the sea alone with you, George. It looks so deep blue no matter how gray it is. I'd have given you full marks and a prize. Sorry. This is so embarrassing. I think couples should rot. Want to hear what the prize was? If you don't mind telling me. No, I won't tell you. That's not fair. When I was in elementary school, I was always the kid who got bullied. When everyone teased me, I grew nervous and speechless to the delight of the bullies. Back then I wondered why everyone teased me. But now teasing Shannon like this, I understand why. Heteronormativity during my Pride Month? During Pride Month! Like, if you're gonna be straight during Pride Month, you could at least be a little bit of a freak about it. And play with her emotions however I please. That's kind of creepy, and I can have them all. You're so fucking gross. You're so gross. That's why I have to go easy on her. It's not as though I want to make her feel embarrassed and upset, so I decided to be nice and change the subject. Best not to be too obstinate. When you finish your lunch, do you want to take a walk on the beach? Maybe the clouds will clear up and we'll get a beautiful view of the sea. That's right. I want to go see it. It's so fucking gross. He's such a creep. I decided to be nice. He thinks he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. What were you just saying about wanting to make Battler cry? Well, I'm not a heterosexual, so I can say whatever the hell I want about Battler, Shiramiya. Yeah, let's do it. But that cake really does look delicious. Maybe I'll go get one of those too. You mustn't. If you eat cake after eating so much, you'll get fat. Looks like Hideyoshi's blood is pretty thick in you, George, so you'll get chubby if you don't take care. Shannon, you won't stop liking me if I get fat, will you? After all, I wouldn't stop liking you if you got fat. That's so... I mean, I guess that's a serve. But also die. I didn't mean it in that way. If you don't take good care of your body, it'd be bad for your health. Mother warns me all the time, too. I wonder if I'll have to take up Tai Chi, Quan, or something like she does and get some exercise. When going on a diet, it's better to start by rethinking your eating habits rather than just exercising all the time. Apparently, the exercise only helps if you're eating well first. In other words, you're telling me to hold off on the cake, huh? I guess I'll have to gaze at you while you stuff your cheeks with it, Shannon. A whole cake is probably too much, but maybe just one half of one would be okay. Here, it's really delicious. Shannon cut her own cake and tried to move half of it to my dessert plate. I had no doubt she wanted to share the delicious cake's flavor with me. However, I meanly pulled my plate away from her. She blinked in surprise. She couldn't seem to figure out if I was refusing the cake or not. So I winked, opened my mouth, and said, ah. I hate couples. Couples should burn. Can we kill these guys early? I hate these guys. Can we stop? This is torture. This is torture. I was so excited to see Beatrice, and I'm being tortured. So that's what you really wanted. Sheesh, you're such a pampered child, George. Okay, say ah. With a partly embarrassed, partly exasperated face, Shannon offered the cake to me with a fork. Chomp. It tasted like a cheap chocolate cake you might find anywhere. And yet, it was exceptional. Because eating cake in such an embarrassing way, as if we were a couple of perfect fools, had been my dream for many years. It made this cake's flavor heavenly. If the earth is destined to end, I wouldn't have any regrets if it happened right now. It was such a moment of bliss. Beatrice's punishment? Yeah, this is hell. This is hell for me. Yeah, literally, like, the power imbalance in this relationship kind of is gross. I kind of don't like it. You know? After that, we gathered shells, ran from waves, and enjoyed each other's company while walking along the beach. In the end, the clouds never parted. However, we both believed the sea reflected in our eyes was deep blue. Somehow I'm so happy that it scares me. You do say that from time to time. What is it that you're afraid of? I'm a servant of the Urshirimiya family. For someone like me to be walking like this with a member of the family? It just felt like it was too much for me. I'm also surprised. I didn't just meet you yesterday or today, Shannon. We've known each other for years now. However, we can only meet during those family meetings that only happen a few times a year. Back then, I couldn't even imagine having a sort of relationship where I could spend time with you like this. Speak of the which, it was the same for you too, right? I did imagine it. No, I mean, maybe I should call it a kind of daydream. I did think about what it'd be like being in a relationship with you, a boy who's always gently and considerate. Though it was only ever a fantastic daydream. Then we must have your believing heart to thank for our relationship. Magic dwells in the power of love. So I'm sure that magic brought us together. Oh, you will not want magic in a little bit, sir. You're right. I really do think it was magic. But, you know, that's not actually true. As you kept looking more and more beautiful every year, you became a larger and larger presence in my mind, too. The same thing happened to you. Then the fact that we're here today is simply an inevitable consequence rather than something caused by magic or a miracle. No, a miracle did happen, George. She stopped walking down the beach, gazing beyond the sea. A miracle? No, it was magic. It happened. I was bewildered by that slightly mysterious phrase, which I sometimes heard her use. Magic, you say? Yeah, magic. I doubt you'd believe me if I explained, so I won't. But this bit of magic definitely had the power to grant the miracle that brought us together. Are you talking about some kind of ritual? Yeah, you might call it something like that. Except that really was magic, not just some ritual. Maybe it's all girl, not just Shannon, who tend to treat encounters as miracles or coincidences. For men like me, an encounter with a girl is 70% hard work to try and make her like you, and 20% courage. And 10% coincidence. George! Can we get... I'm sick of this guy. The part that means everything to her is a much smaller factor in my mind. I think I should kill him. Maybe that way of thinking is calculating typical of men. You are awful. But if I said that out loud, it might dissolve all kinds of magic. To my mind, there were lots of coincidence, compromise, and expended effort on both sides before we have gained the relationship we have today. Maybe this magic stuff is for girls, not men like me. We like numbers. Yeah, like the fucking heteronormativity. I'll kill George. At the culmination of all that, we get to spend this joyful time together, and if she wants to call that magic, I have no objections to her choice of words. So I'll stand up for that magic. You're right. If the same fate were repeated 100 times, maybe you and I could get into a relationship like this only one of those times. In the other instances, even though we'd be aware of each other, maybe we'd only maintained a reserved relationship after all this time. From the perspective of those other me's and you's, you and I are undoubtedly in a miraculous relationship right now. That's not what I meant. It really was magic. No matter how often you tell men something like this, they'll never believe it. Kenan didn't believe me at all either. I hate this guy. Genuinely, you don't believe her. You're a fucking liar and a fraud, George Ushiramiya. I believe you. I'd hate for the magic to fade away because I didn't believe in it. George. In a small voice, I apologized for saying something that trivialized her magic. Shannon seemed to be glad to hear me say that. After all, if two people believe in the magic of love, it becomes eternal. Yeah, Tomitake. Oh, that's right. I was wondering if you'd be willing to agree to a little whim of mine. Yeah? What is it? You call me George-sama, right? It's not that I dislike it. Would you consider not calling me that anymore? Of course you have to keep up your appearance with the Ushiramiya family, so I wouldn't force you to do so during your everyday routine on Rockinjima. But when we're alone, I'd rather you didn't call me that. Let's make that a rule. A rule? What would happen if I violated that rule? Maybe we should have some kind of punishment game if you break the rule. I think that you should die. And what should it be? Wanna hear? No, I don't wanna hear. I'll have to think about what it should be. Yeah, okay, let's kill him. Beatrice, kill him with hammers. Okay, George. Yeah, love the way that sounds. I'm so happy, Shannon. I also have another name. It's Sayo. I see. The rule's gotta be fair after all. I'll follow it too, and from now on I'll call you Sayo. Okay? Sayo? Yes. Bristly pulsed her delicate gaudy color to me. She dove into my chest like a doll. So gross. As I held her hand in my arms, we both looked at the horizon. What a deep blue sea. I'm so happy we got to look at the sea, just the two of us. Me too. So glad to have a chance to look at this deep blue sea with you. As we gazed at the great sea and the light rain began to sprinkle down, we kept listening to each other's heartbeats.
Please, I want to go to Rokkenjima Island! Please, I need to meet Beatrice!
The sound of waves flows into my ears. No, it's the sound of an enraged sea. My body bathed in a painfully cold splashes does not allow me to forget. It won't let me forget the memories of the day my old fate was broken and smashed. Once tomorrows were literally looking into a mirror. All I ever saw was the person I already was. Tomorrow was absolutely different from today, absolutely no different from today. That was my old fate, but then for the first time I saw a different fate beyond the mirror. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite out of the fruit of knowledge. She torments me, saying that I'll be furniture as long as I stay in God's paradise. So I decided to choose the path of knowing love and try to become a person. Those days were like sweet honey, but at the time I didn't realize they'd be the start of the new kind of suffering. Finally, lesbian temptation. That's what we need. I've arrived at a small island on a motorboat I've only just learned how to use. No, this can hardly be called a small island. There's little more than a rock jutting out of the water. On this rock is a torii and a small shrine. It was probably built to worship the guardian deity of Rokkenjima. Even though I don't know exactly what it signifies, I know it has to be something holy. Even in a place like this, I've got to take just one more look around and see if there's anyone who might get mad at me for coming. I see nothing but the stormy ocean, Nijima looming in the distance, and the waves breaking against Rokkenjima's steep cliffside. I ready myself, timidly approach the small shrine, and take the mirror that lies there as an offering. The mirror looks old, cloudy, and dirty. That would probably make any normal mirror seem horribly cheap. However, since the mirror has been placed in the small shrine, its appearance seems to give out some kind of divine quality. And there's one thing I can tell. This is no simple mirror. It may seem like an old, battered mirror to a non-believer like myself, but it has great significance. Is it really okay to break this after being captivated by honeyed words? No, this really isn't a mirror. This is a life I couldn't escape until today, my fate. I'll break it. I'll smash it and seize the life that lies beyond this mirror. If I don't smash it, my life will be a pair of facing mirrors forever. Nothing will ever change in the slightest. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite of the fruit of knowledge. Or maybe I've already tasted of that fruit. After all, I've already experienced those maddening emotions. Just as Adam and Eve felt compelled to plug their fig leaves, I can no longer go on without breaking this mirror. I struggled with conflicting emotions for many days before this moment. Inside my heart, the virtuous part of me kept on fighting the part that sides with the witch. And now, here I am. Did the part of me that's here right now win or lose? There's only one thing I know. To obtain something, you must be ready to lose something. Cowards who don't risk anything, who never try to change anything, will never be given the key that opens the path to a new future. That key is already in my hands. And that key is to break this. To smash it. Any other effort I can make as furniture imprisoned in Rokkenjima? No. This is the only way for me. Could I have some courage? I'll free myself from being mere furniture, and by accepting a new kind of suffering, I'll become human. This is surely a small, yet large trial I must impose on myself. Come on, smash it. Smash it to pieces. The eternally unchanging fate that imprisons me. I'll raise the mirror high. I think back on the days of the conflict that came before. And finishing my reflections on the brink of an eye, I throw it down. The thunder roars, crying out against me for my outrageous act. It truly is the hatred of the angels trying to banish me from eternal paradise. I look down at the mirror tumbling at my feet, broken in 2 equal parts, and after making sure I've accomplished my task, I scream up at the raging skies. I've kept my promise. Now, it's your turn. Thunder rolls once more. I've already been banished from paradise, so I'll have to struggle on my own if I want to live. The witch told me, that is the single element of this world. To lose it means losing the world. Like how a canteen with a hole at the bottom can't be filled, no matter how much water you pump into it. I've kept my promise. Now it's your turn to keep yours. Please grant my wish, Beatrice Sama. The parallels to Keiichi's melody talks about smashing fate and Higarashi's interesting. Yeah! It's really fun how they subvert a bunch of stuff that happened in Higurashi as well. Like the, I don't know, the whole thing is so cool. I love Ryukishi's 07's, like, writing style. It's so... Oof. I'm so... Because, like, the way he self-references is so, like... It feels good, right? Like, he references his previous works a lot, but it doesn't ever feel, like, intrusive, like, aha, hey, reference. It's more like, if you know kind of reference, which is really cool, and I like it. Smashing Fate positive versus Smashing Fate ominous. That's true. Welcome to Rakanjima. Fuck. My ad's running. We will take a minute break. We'll take a break for a couple seconds and before we continue. Welcome to Rakanjima, baby. We'll wait for the ads to end. I really need to set up the thing where it tells me when my ads are running. Or I need to set up a thing that yells in chat whenever I have an ad running. Man. I just think about it. Like, the writing in this game just gives me, like, genuinely, I think, like, the only other, I feel like this is the prime form to consume Umineko in like, actual VN form. But, like, if this was, like, an audio drama, if you got the right voice actors, this would go so hard. I genuinely just want an audiobook of Umineko. The official date of VAs do a phenomenal job. Yeah, I really need to check out the original VAs. I need to figure out what's going on. I want to, like, Like, I like reading it myself because, like, that's the whole point of this, is for me to actually read. But, there's just something about it, right? This show, this visual novel is doing things to me that I can't describe. Like, genuinely, I feel like my brain chemistry is being altered with every letter that is written. With every word. Umineko's repeatedly advertised as a sound novel. Yeah, I do like that it's, like, more, like, it's just so good. Like, the OST, everything is just really well done. It's beautiful. I love it. Back to the days when I could barely imagine the happiness I have now. I was a middle schooler at the time. A normal girl who thought about love as much as you expect someone at that age. But in truth, it was wrong of me to have that dream. After all, I am furniture. Furniture is nothing more than a tool, not a human. A person less than a human, simply receiving an education was an enormous blessing. So in reality, even thinking about falling in love was more than I deserved. The Ashiramiya Family Conference was a customary event held every October, but relatives sometimes visited at other times. Of course, they didn't come just to drink tea. On this day, Ava's family was visiting the head family on Rakanjima. The 3 members of Krause's family and the 3 members of Ava's family had gathered in the parlor. I'm having a friendly chat about recent events. Genji had supposedly told Ginzo of Ava's family's arrival, but he had still not come down. He probably was immersed in his research and couldn't spare the time. This often happened, so others waited patiently for their fickle father to arrive. Oh. How promising. Make sure you work hard under your father building the skills you'll need if you want to lend him a hand soon. Thank you very much. I've learned countless special things from many experienced people father has introduced me to, and these were all things I could never learn in school. When you're in school, it's not math and language you're learning. What that's really teaching you is the right outlook and attitude for learning more. Once you've got that base, you can finally start a long period of study that'll last your entire life. That is very smart. That's a very smart way of thinking about it. People who don't get this end up spending their whole lives as fools who never learn. Just getting full marks in maths and language won't do you any good at your company. Indeed, that's exactly right. Hideyoshi, your style of education never fails to impress. George isn't quite a full man yet. He'd better always keep that in mind and embrace his studies. Stop it, dear. George is always giving it his all. Right? Truly admirable. I wish our Jessica would learn from him. Sheesh, are you still holding a grudge about that test score? I'm studying for tests the best I can. At least don't say it here. Pissing me off. Once people started praising George for his diligence, the conversation usually turned to Jessica, who hated studying. Jessica made an openly displeased face, as though she'd known this would happen. My. Schoolwork aside, it seems Jessica had better learn to choose her words a little more gracefully. How improper for the single daughter who bears the weight of the Ashiramiya family crush. Come now, she's quite appealing in her own way, isn't she? Times change. The time when we had to act all modest to entertain men ended long ago. That's right. I knew you'd understand, Ava. My headache is truly trying today. Are you okay? Not that you look like you're looking a bit pale. Thank you, I'm fine. Still, time really has flown. It feels just like just yesterday when you would run around half naked on the beach and come back soaked. Wasn't your Jessica the same? And now she's a lady who fusses over how to put on makeup. I see you focused on your eyebrows. You look really cute today. Thank you very much. No one noticed, so I was a bit unsure of myself. A full smile rose to Jessica's face as the results of her own studies were finally appreciated. Eva smiled back in the same way. Then she turned that smile towards Natsuhe. Come on, Natsuhe. You must take notice of the small changes in your own child. Poor Jessica. You probably wanted your mother to notice first, didn't you? No problem, no problem. That person never notices anything. Jessica, I can't condone you speaking of your mother in such a fashion. Apologize. Later. I will speak to you at length about your language. If you don't want kids getting in your way, just say so. I'm gonna take a step outside. It's getting stuffy in here. Jessica was still at the age where tests and entrance exams were pretty nerve-wracking. Recently, she clashed often with her mother, who was enthusiastic about her education. Excuse me. Jessica, who was trying to leave the parlor in a bad mood, bumped into Shannon, who was pushing a serving cart filled with tea. Shannon, no need to worry about my tea. I'm just gonna go wander around the garden. Oh, m'lady. Shannon, the tea is getting cold. Serve it quickly. My apologies. Shannon hadn't actually done anything wrong, but Natsu, who felt like something shameful to herself had been shown, lashed out at her emotionally. This was something that often happened in the Ishirimiya family. But it seems Shannon wasn't strong-willed enough to just accept it and move on. She shrank back and cowered while serving the tea. She had the unfortunate habit of making more mistakes when she cowered. Her pitiful appearance ruined the peaceful atmosphere that existed a moment before. It wasn't really Shannon's fault, but she thought that she might be the source and felt a pressure on her chest. Her shaking fingers made the utensils clang, and you couldn't call it graceful, not even just to be polite. It's more pitiful she appeared, the greater the silence grew. The more irritated Natsu looked, and the more Shannon cowered. Shannon's thin neck felt like it was being suffocated and choked by the rancor known as stress. At that time, George spoke brightly, blowing away the stiff atmosphere. This smells nice. What kind of black tea is it? This is... No, don't say it. I'll guess. It's a very distinctive smell, so I probably know it. Is it Earl Grey? I think it probably is. Yeah, I bet it's Earl Grey. When you get back to the kitchen, check the tin. George, you know a lot about black tea, don't you? One of the company presidents who looked after me was very knowledgeable about black tea. I managed to pick up a little while listening to him discuss the subject. Oh yeah, the president of Okongi Foods. Yep, that sort of trivia is that guy's specialty. The names of black teas are often referred to the places they're made, right? So did this come from a place with that name? From what I've heard, there was a person called Earl Grey in England long ago, and it was named after him. Furthermore, this distinctive smell doesn't come from tea leaves, but from a fruit called bergamot, which is the relative of the mandarin orange. That's so. I never knew that. Learning things like that make tea takes all the more delicious. Same thing goes for alcohol and cigarettes. Luxury items have a taste of romance. Look, knowing stuff like this and deepens the taste. It's the same as reading the list of benefits on a medicine bottle. Natsu, you should try reading the explanation of your favorite headache medicine someday. Ever since Natsu's duel with Beatrice, she's been one of my favorites. She's far from perfect. Like, I think the whole thing with Umineko is, like, no one in this is quite perfect, and I really, really like that. That's a wonderful idea. Try it tonight. Yeah, I'll do so. Shannon, try opening that pot. You should find some dried bergamot mixed in with the tea leaves. Yes, it is in there. Something like dried orange peel that's mixed in. Yep, that's probably bergamot. The main ingredient in Earl Grey's scent. The scent is vivid, so you might expect the taste to be intense, but it's still gentle and easy to drink. If you make it with milk, the scent should become more mild, which looks great. If there's anything left in the pot after you poured bourbon, you should try drinking it with milk. Yes. Thank you very much. George gave her a small wink. Shannon finally realized that George had kindly-heartedly swept aside the tense atmosphere in the room. And he had done it for the sake of Shannon herself, cowering servant. The Shirimiya family did not pamper their servants. Any display of awkwardness would be harshly punished. So it was rare for them to have given a helping hand like this. Thanks to George's kindness, Shannon managed to regain control of herself and finished serving the same tea without further incident. As long as she stayed calm, she could carry out her work elegantly and flawlessly. By the time the black tea was laid out on the table and its elegant scent filled the room, the atmosphere had completely returned to its former peaceful mood, and everyone praised George's knowledge. Shannon wanted to thank him for saving her, but it didn't look like she would get the chance. So she at least decided to thank him inside her heart, praying to God that George would hear it as she pushed the serving cart away. I think my favorites of the Ushirimiya family are Beatrice and Natsuhi, or they're not Beatrice, Ava and Natsuhi. They're like so deeply flawed. It's so rare to see like kind of like it was so rare to see like women like them. It's so rare to see them where they're like deeply flawed, but like they're still likable, and like they have their great moments where it's like, oh, you know. George always lends a helping hand at times like that, by changing the topic or something. Shin and Jessica were in the rose garden. Jessica still hadn't returned to the parlor after getting into a fight with her mother. It was nonchalantly killing time here. When I think back on it, I get the feeling that this wasn't the first time he's helped me out like that. Whenever I made a careless mistake and George was around, I'm pretty sure he'd always naturally smooth things over and restore harmony. Maybe it wasn't something as direct as picking up a fork that had been dropped, but it was his way of caring. Even servants have their pride. They want us to fix their own mistakes by themselves, and if a guest lends them a hand, they lose face. Oh, Ghost! Thank you for the raid! Welcome, welcome in, Raiders! Welcome aboard, welcome Gun Express! Welcome, welcome! Welcome to Book Club! We're reading! We just started chapter 2 of Umineko. And I think that couples should rock. VN Book Club? Yeah! We run Book Club every single Thursday. We're currently reading Umineko. I haven't figured out. I assume we're going to be on Umineko for the next, like, forever. I haven't figured out what else we're gonna play. But thank you guys for coming in. For those who are new in here, welcome in, Raiders. Thank you, Ghost, for the raid. I am Serum, your local ghost train conductor and #1 conductor of the Demon Train, the Demon Express. It's so nice to have you guys aboard. We're raiding Umineko today. We're cursing couples today. They opened us up with George and Shannon, which has been quite fun. We hate George in this house. I'm a bit of a hater at the moment. I'm a bit of a George hater at the moment. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Contrast this to Battler, who would pick up that fort. Appearances be damned. Exactly. It's gonna be forever. Yeah. I think we're going at a pretty okay pace. I'm thinking hopefully we'll finish the answer arc, the like question arc, by like the end of the summer. Hopefully the goal is to finish it by the end of the year. That is like the optimistic goal. It is the optimistic as hell goal. But yeah, we're playing Umineko. I can't stop thinking. I thought that we were going to start with Battler and Beatrice duking it out, but we have more exposition to get through. So, and more couples. He's really good at reading between the lines when stuff like that happens. Well, I guess it's kind of like an art to him. Fuck George. All my homies hate George. We fucking hate George Ushirimiya. I don't like him. I feel bad because it's like he doesn't really outwardly do anything wrong, but like reading how he's written, I'm like, you're gross. You're a creep. What's happening? You just can't see it right now. That's true. Selfina, welcome aboard. Welcome to Gehenna Express. I'm hoping you're having a lovely night. Welcome aboard. Welcome in. Oh, and also, I missed one. Sorry. Kyra, welcome in. Welcome aboard. Welcome Gehenna Express. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you guys for the follows. Thank you. Welcome in. Seeing his inner novels is far detached from his action. Yeah, I think it kind of pisses me off because, like, George has kind of, like, the way his, like, internal monologue is so far detached from, like, how he actually acts that his, like, all of his actions seem two-faced. You know what I mean? Like, all of his actions seem, like, two-faced, and I don't like it. You get to directly see what he thinks about Shannon. It's very possessive. It feels more like he tolerates Shannon's flaws rather than loving her because of them. Yeah, exactly. He really doesn't treat Shannon like a person, and I don't like it. Like, he doesn't treat Shannon like a person, and that kind of pisses me off, because she's so lovely and kind. I will protect you with my life, Shannon. You should get a real man like me. That guy's more of a show-off than he looks. That's not true. I think he's a really wonderful person. Shannon, you haven't fallen in love with George, have you? For once, Shannon disagreed with Jessica in a slightly forceful tone, which immediately caught Jessica's attention. No, that's not it, I think. Come to think of it, I hardly heard any stories about George in love. I think I remember hearing him say that family-oriented girls were his type, weren't he? That's very much the girl I got who is also my servant. And yeah, the power balance makes this relationship very, like, tentative at best. It makes the whole relationship questionable, and I don't really like that. Kind of pisses me off. I think I will obliterate George with my mind. I'm exploding him right now. He's going to return to Viscera again. I'm going to kill him. Sweet, that fits you perfectly, Shannon. It does? How could I? I'm not suitable for such a thing. Not suitable? Like hell you aren't. You've known him for so long, you're practically a childhood friend. They say that when you start from natural relationship, where you don't think of the other as a member of the opposite sex, the things start to move pretty fast once you start actually thinking about it. There's no doubt. Jessica loved teen magazines with this kind of story, so she's always getting excited talking about that kind of thing with her friends. She octopuses you as the subject who's being devoured by demons and being sent to hell. She's very quick to pick on love stories like this. So this wasn't the first time Shannon had been exposed to this kind of story. But this certainly was the first time she started thinking of George as a member of the opposite sex. She was furniture, while George was an honored guest and a member of the Shirimiya family. Until now she had assumed that even imagining a deep in a relationship would be impermissible. So she hadn't thought of it. Since it was someone else's problem, Jessica poked fun at it, seeming to enjoy herself. It was all Shannon could do to hide her blushing cheeks. If George were to appear at a time like that, she'd have no chance of keeping her cool. They saw George come out from the entrance hall of the mansion. It looked like he'd seen them as well. He headed over, waving his hand. Shannon had to frantically trying to regain her ordinary composure before George reached them. Grandfather finally came down. Now they're having an adult discussion, so they chased me out. Escaping them was the right choice. It'd be better to kiss the angel of death than look at Grandfather's face. You shouldn't speak that way. But you know, I think of Grandfather might think of us as angels of death. After all, we came here to talk about borrowing money for business reasons. That's right, this wasn't the customary annual October family conference. Eva's family had A visit to apply for a business loan from the head family. Kinzo had vast resources, so he lent those out to his children. Of course, they didn't borrow money because they were living in poverty. How could they expand their businesses with the vast sums they wanted to borrow? How much interest would be attached, and how long would they have to repay it? This wasn't the sort of loan designed for the poor. It was a loan for those who were on the offensive. Kinzo strictly judged whether it would be worth that lending his fortune, and afterwards he strictly oversaw its use. So Rokkanjima would sometimes play host to the spectacle, where relatives visited and described their businesses to Kinzo. To the parents, the meetings had burdened them with the strain of having to move a vast amount of money. But to Jessica, who lived on this isolated island and called Rokkanjima, it was a precious opportunity to meet up with her cousins. So being able to talk with the occasional guests such as George like this immediately cured the bad mood she'd gotten from the fight with her mother. My family's totally stingy, too. They probably got money to spare, so why not lend it out graciously? Dad and grandfather will probably get pig-headed and act all important. It's natural to be prudent when lending money. Of course my father will use what he borrows to expand his business, and he came with a plan that promises a solid probability of repayment. Everything else is left up to the presentation. But I really wish I could watch from the corner and learn. Mother chased me out. I'm a little let down. Seems the master still tends to scold Kraus and Ava as though we were kids. I'm sure she didn't want to let her son see that. As Shannon hung her head, she thought back on a scene familiar to those who worked in the mansion. Even Kraus, who acted hostilely towards his siblings, was still treated like a child by Kinzo. Shannon herself had often seen Kinzo slap Kraus and tell him to sit up straight. It was probably very embarrassing to be coerced like that at his age. Taking care to avoid being present at times like that, was one of the important responsibilities held by the servants working here. However, the fact that Shannon had ended up witnessing such a scene meant that she'd messed up at least once in the past. Yeah, I imagine so. Maybe figuring that out and staying away is part of a child's duty. Aside, the flowers in this garland are truly splendid this year. George stretched as he said that, and he smoothly changed the subject away from one that was a little gloomy. This time Shannon noticed it too. This person, George, could sensitively figure out the situation and always change the subject to something harmonious out of kindness. It was so smooth that Shannon hadn't noticed until today. Today, Shannon really had to admire George, the way George did that. Of the boys close to Shannon's age that she'd known, nearly all of them had been classmates during her period of mandatory education. But they'd all been young and possessed the composure that George had. Mere moments ago, he'd just been another guest. But right now, she couldn't think of it as something more. However, such thoughts were mere distractions from her work as a servant. Shannon tried to chase them away with a small shake of her head. What's up? No, it's nothing. Shall I make some tea? I'll prepare some more of that Earl Grey. So you remembered the name of that tea? I'm glad. Thank you for your concern back then. Shannon was finally able to put her gratitude into words. If you wrote it out, it wouldn't be very long, but Shannon had needed a little spark of courage to say it out loud. But George played dumb. What do you mean? I don't remember doing anything I should be thanked for. He seemed to be playing the gentleman in his own way, really letting her know he wasn't doing it out of a desire for gratitude. George's response seemed to be more or less exactly what Jessica had predicted. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. See? Isn't he a bit of a show-off at times like this? No, that's not. Jessica poked fun at Shannon and the latter remained silent, red-faced. George didn't know the details, but he naturally joined in, laughing the same way. The three of them lazily walked around the garden, catching up on recent events. George, as the oldest cousin, talked about his life experiences. Jessica talked about the recent life on Rokkanjima. And Shannon talked about her recent work. They kept going on about these trivial things. Even when Shannon heard the others talk about deeply interesting things, she never felt any particular interest in the actual content of their stories. She was nothing more than a servant, and she had no intention of delving into their masters' lives. She simply wanted them to enjoy their time speaking with her, and would only pretend to listen intently and not at the right moments. But for some reason, the things that George talked about today seemed to catch her interest powerfully. Even things she'd normally ignore felt like it contained a trace of kindness between the words. For some reason, she wanted to know more things about George, no matter how trivial. So she stared fixedly at him. She thought as far as looks went, that this extremely George was probably about average and didn't stick out in any particular way, but he was diligent, serious, and had deep prudence which allowed him to understand people's hearts and show concern. But she'd never noticed these things before now. She may not have met him many times, but she'd known his face for many years. Get fucked. I love how she was like, yeah, he's kind of average. Even so, she hadn't noticed once until now. Shannon, embarrassed by her own obliviousness, blushed. George, perhaps thinking that Shannon would listen intently to her stories, kept talking happily and at length about the things he'd done and seen. But Jessica didn't miss that slight change in Shannon. So she decided she'd change the conversation to the topic she was sure Shannon was the most interested in. Oh yeah, come to think of it. George, have you finally gotten a girlfriend or what? Where did that come from? Normally that reaction should have been answer enough, but for some reason, as she was now, Shannon wouldn't be able to understand unless he said it clearly. George is very nice, so I'm sure he's very popular. Well, quit it, Shannon. Isn't curling like that actually pretty mean? I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm flattered, but you have this mistaken impression of me, but unfortunately I still haven't had a relationship with any particular girl. After all, my looks are below average, as you can see. I can't speak tactfully in a way that can entertain a girl. I don't think that's true. I think a man's charm is said to be something that can't be measured by appearance. That's why, I think you might be considered a very attractive man, George. Ugh. Shannon was being uncharacteristically verbose. He hardly ever spoke at such a length. George seemed faintly pleased with hearing someone's applause his charm like this, but he was just a little surprised at the sudden high praise. Jessica, now sure her guess was on the spot on, appeared to be barely holding back laughter. Thank you, Shannon. I hope I do bump into a girl who's generous enough to feel attracted to me before too long. Yeah, I'm sure you'll run into one. I'm sure there's at least one, no, a lot of girls who will recognize your real charm. She probably wanted to say there was at least one girl very close to him. Shannon avoided saying that much, drawing the final line as the servant. Really? I guess I'm kind of embarrassed. He had probably never been praised this heavily by a girl before. George's face turned just as bright red as Shannon's. As she watched the two of them, Jessica giggled sadistically. I'm sure you'll eventually bump into a wonderful partner, George. But I doubt you'll be able to properly escort your partner as you are now, right? Looks like you're diligent, but you've completely abandoned your study of that. Sorry about that. I'll start studying that bit by bit. How do you plan to do that all by yourself? Are you gonna watch romance movies or something? Are you gonna learn from Uncle Hideyoshi? Well, you're acting pretty triumphant. Men are no match for girls when it comes to this sort of thing. Sexist fuck, I'll kill you. I'll rip you to shreds. Normally, when George and Jessica got together, his parents would say, George is diligent and admirable, and Jessica's lazy and rude. So it's probably unbearable fun for Jessica to have their roles finally reversed. George realized this as well, so he resigned himself into being the one teased for once. So, George, as long as you're okay with it, why not practice a bit with Shannon? It'll be your job to keep Shannon entertained all day long on a date. What do you think? What are you... Milady. When she heard Jessica's audacious plan, Shannon's face turned bright red with a poof, and the donut of smoke started to rise from her head. It's a very tempting plan, but I wouldn't want to burn in Shannon. I'd just end up wasting one of her precious days off, wouldn't it? Maybe butting in on that secret time that she should spend sitting alone with someone she really likes. Wing woman Jessica. Yeah, she's kind of like a wing woman. That's kind of girl boss of her. I couldn't do something so boorish. I also don't have a person I have feelings for or anything, so there's no need to hold back for my sake. Shannon's blood but all of the rest of her head, and it looked like she didn't even know what she's babbling about. Jessica, who knew who Shannon was, seemed to be finding this hilarious. She couldn't hide her cackling laughter anymore. Is that true? I can't believe a cute girl like you would be single, Shannon. I'm a servant, so of course I don't have any relationships with boys. Which means if Shannon wants a chance at getting herself a wonderful die, she needs practice with relationships too, right? So you both want the same thing. Sweet, that'll be perfect. Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on. By now, even George was hanging his head and turning red. George, I've been calling to you for a while now. Didn't you hear me? When Ava appeared in what was already an embarrassing situation, both of them got even more flustered. Jessica watched and laughed loudly. Mother. Sorry, I was so engrossed in our conversation. I didn't notice. Oh, Ava-sama, you have my deepest apologies. It looks like the young kids are really fired up together. You're all about that age. Oh, I know how kids your age can talk about that sort of thing forever. Oh, come on. You're still young yourself, Aunt Ava. Sin anime is practicing relationships is a thing it didn't end well? Yeah. Please tell us how you and Uncle Hideyoshi met. Oh my, there's no way I could say that. You all really are so young. So what is it, Mother? You called because you wanted something, right? Your father and the rest have finished talking. We're gonna talk to grandfather about you, so come on. About me? But what could that be? The same thing you were all talking about just now. You know what I mean, right? Oh, that. That isn't really something we need to talk to grandfather about, right? What's going on? Wait, George, are you getting married? Congratulations. No. Didn't I just say I didn't have a particular woman I was interested in? That isn't something to brag about, is it? Good grief. Ava smiled bitterly, looking a little exasperated. It's Pride Month, George. You know what that means. What? You want there to be gay murder? Well, like what? Gay murder? What? George, that's one of those, right? An omiai, a marriage meeting. A marriage meeting, you say? Yeah. Surely, man, George wanted to find a partner by himself and not bring her home with him. So it seemed that he thought it a bit pathetic to meet his partner for the first time in a marriage meeting arranged by his parents. Shouldn't marriage meetings be done at a more mature age? I still don't feel like I've become a full-fledged adult. Of course we have no desire to rush into an immediate engagement or marriage, right? There's nothing wrong with deepening your friendship first and then having moved on to our family register after you've gotten older and settled down. Judging by Ava's forceful nature and George's non-committal one, the others could catch a glimpse of the story behind this marriage meeting. They didn't know who George was supposed to be meeting, but it was surely someone who would profit Ava's family in a business sense. The very fact that they'd be satisfied with a mere engagement to deepen the relationship with the two families rather than an immediate marriage made it feel almost like a political maneuver. See, marriage isn't something that you should enter into only after you start liking someone. You marry first and then you adjust. If you marry based purely on emotions, you'll always end up regretting it. There's certainly nothing wrong with choosing a person with a secure background for your partner in life and developing your affection later. Aunt Ava, isn't that kind of rude to Uncle Hideyoshi? I love that man. I want to always be with him and to live my life by his side. Ava-sama, that's wonderful. Truly splendid. Thank you, but we built up those feelings while we were husband and wife, see? And I believe that in the future we'll be much, much closer than we are now. I think that's what's best for a married couple. Still, I don't think you can use that to argue that it's okay to marry someone you don't even like. But it also doesn't mean that it's okay to marry anyone as long as you like them. It only takes an instant to get married, but your life as a married couple will last a long, long time after that. So you should start with prudence and avoid making decisions based on momentary emotions. Don't you think a matter like this should be best handled like us, rather than a person lacking life's experience such as yourself? Arranged marriage is so bad, just get engaged with someone who happens to be compatible. Skill issue. She's so... I love her to death. I love her to death. She's so... I love her. Hold on, 1 second. One moment. Well, George, if you didn't have a skill issue, maybe you'd have a wife. But no, now you don't get a wife, and you don't have a life either. Lifeless and lifeless, really the worst of it all. This guy doesn't even have a wife. Pathetic. That may be true, but I'm proud of you, my only son. You've grown magnificently, and I'm sure you'll do us proud no matter where you go. And now that Battler has flipped the family register, your father's only male grandchild carrying his blood. I do think that people are often too quick on getting married. Yeah. We must prudently choose a fitting partner for you. As everyone related to the Ushirimiya family knew, Eva adored George immensely. That didn't mean she had pampered him. She had been strict with him and raised him into a wonderful boy who wouldn't betray her expectations. That's why he treasured him so. Your partner certainly won't be selected based on your parents' profit and loss. I'll bring you a suitable and truly wonderful woman. At this moment, your immaturity might make this seem unpleasant to you. But if you're going to take my advice on anything, listen to me now. Have I ever failed to act in your best interest? No, you haven't. That's enough for now, so let's go. They're keeping father waiting. Hurry to the mansion. Oh, sorry, you two. See you later. George bowed to the two of them, and after bowing once more to Shannon, he dashed off to the mansion. I'll be going with him. Forgive me for interrupting such an entertaining conversation, Jessica and Shannon. No. Please don't worry about it. Come on, Shannon. Let's go. Yeah. It's okay. I'm sure you'll meet someone wonderful too soon, Jessica. A wonderful person suitable for you. So if he's at the same level as me, you mean a guy with shit grades? That kind of pisses me off. Yeah, and of course you too, Shannon. I'm sure that a wonderful man suitable for you will appear. Yes, thank you very much. As Ava giggled and smiled, she approached Shannon's ear with a hand over her mouth, as though she was trying to tell her a secret. Ava! I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a lowly servant like yourself. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place. That's not what I meant. George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushirimiya family someday in the future. To answer that expectations, he has studied tirelessly, entered wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. You really think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant? Those malicious words all but poured into Shannon's ear without spilling a drop. To Shannon, it was like cold water was being poured in there. I didn't mean... This is all they whispered to Shannon in secret. And with the same smile as before, Jessica could only see Ava's expression, didn't think it was anything other than Ava telling Shannon some embarrassing story about love. With their secret conversation ended, Eva patted Shannon's shoulders as though she was urging her on. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a partner, right? Okay, Jessica, see you later. Yeah, see you later. Make sure you tell me about Umineko Horiyoshi next time. No way! Like, Ava's kind of she's a massive bitch, but like, I love that about her. Ava laughed loudly and headed back to the entrance hall. Behind Jessica, who was cheerfully waving her hand, Shannon reflected very deeply on those words of Ava's without knowing her place. Yeah. Yeah, the thing with her is that she's like high society. And she's blossoming and fields of crops are being destroyed in her wake. That's true. If you aren't awful, you'll be devoured. Yeah. The thing with her is that she was raised in a competitive environment with all of her siblings, and all of her siblings are also awful. And she had to fight fucking tooth and nail to stay in the Ushirimiya family. It's time for me to take a serious look at how full of myself I've been acting. I forgot. I'm furniture. Furniture isn't human. So I'm a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human, and I am not permitted to wish for anything more. People sometimes develop affliction for furniture they're used to using, but that's an emotion on the human side, and the furniture has no right to hope for such a thing. It's enough that furniture serves with simple honesty day after day. The feeling I got when talking to George and Jessica is the same as a forbidden drug to me. In other words, it may be an emotion I must never experience. Shannon, you've had your head in the clouds for some time now. Do you not feel well? No. My apologies. Natsu's works were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe she hadn't noticed Natsu until she had called. Normally, it was essential she focus on her cleaning at this time of the day, but she spent all of her time sighing and hardly making any progress. Even when there aren't any guests around, you must always be alert. Behavior like this is shameful for an Ushirimiya family servant. Yes, ma'am. I'll take care from now on. The head and my husband will return very soon. Have you finished cleaning the study? Have you finished cleaning the staircase? My apologies. Not yet. Yes, I know. So I had Lunon do it. While you were pottering around cleaning the hallway, she finished cleaning the study and the staircase. That's because sorry. I wanted to clean it properly, so it took some time. Shannon was simple and honest, so she'd always carry out her tasks seriously and properly without any omissions. So she was always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunon cleverly avoided doing extra work whenever it was possible. If only so she could complete her jobs with a result that almost looked the same as to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was a shrewd employee. Compared to that, it's probably fair to say that Shannon wasn't very shrewd at all, talking back to Natsuhi when Natsuhi was in a bad mood. Of course, there was nothing that Natsuhi couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased, so she spoke sternly. And yet her slow, admonishing style of speech was even more terrifying, and only made Shannon realize she'd said the wrong thing. Then perhaps you should aim to do a truly thorough cleaning. Shannon and I are ready to clean the reception hall right now. It's an important hall where several treasures treasured by the head is displayed, and where honored guests of the Ushirimiya family are welcomed. Clean it thoroughly so not a speck of dust remains, and that even you are satisfied. Of course, you'll finish before the day is out. Until you finish that and report to me, you'll not be permitted any food or rest. Understood? Yes, madam. Natsuhi's a goat, but yeah, she's kind of awful to the servants. Like, I get it. She's under a lot of pressure, but like, she also takes it out on people around her. That's her big flaw. It's good. Servants should endeavor to only use those words. The next time you talk back, your punishment will be even more severe. So that in mind, engrave these words onto your heart. Yes, madam. Thank you for your guidance. You're welcome. Behaving as though the medic was troubling her, Natsu had to daff down the corridor. When she couldn't see her anymore, Shannon hung her head and sighed. This was what happened when she had her head in the clouds. Even though I'm bad at everything I do, I should be able to at least carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? It's because I can't even perform that well that I'm crying so pathetically. That's even more shameful, is that not only have I been unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now when Natsu was scolding me, I imagined that person appearing and rescuing me. If only George were here. Would he casually step in and save me? Surely he'd show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he didn't know what was going on, nimbly change the subject and make me forget I'd ever been rebuked. I kept envisioning him, suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I was for him. Eva clearly told me. It's been repeating over and over in my dreams. You're still as clumsy as always, Nason. Milady has been in a bad mood since this morning. That'll just now happen because you talk too much, when you should have just hung your head in silence. Kenan. Kenan was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he never left any trace of his presence. He probably should have stood there forever, and she still wouldn't have noticed him. The way she internalizes every word. Yeah, it's so fucking sad. It's genuinely heartbreaking. The expression on Ken's face was one of hatred. He made that expression for Shannon, who didn't know how to do it herself. Madame and Lunon can fall into hell. That person knows where Madame checks and only cleans those areas. Her cleaning just now was like that. I know because I saw. She wasn't really cleaning. She's just the worst kind of parasite, leeching off your thorough cleaning. You mustn't use such dirty words. Dirty words pollute your clean soul, Canon. So at least don't use those words in front of me. Canon just talking shit about the workplace. I love this guy. Okay. Canon turned away as though sulking. It was a reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Canon. But I was a little happy. He was getting mad for my sake. Cleaning the reception hall will be tough. I'll help. Thank you. But I was the one Madame ordered, so don't worry. Don't you also have your own work, Canon? It's a filthy job. My soul was polluted long ago. Canon hung his head and bit his lower lip. Just hearing say you'll help is enough for me. If you don't go back to your own job, then you'll be punished as well. And that would make me sad. Shannon knew Canon's character well. Sometimes he didn't think enough about himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he'll help me even if it means neglecting his own job. Kenan was a little sad that his goodwill had been rejected, but he realized that what he was doing was only hurt her more in the end, and she gave a single, small sigh. Understood. Do your best, Nason. Yes, and I am also partly to blame. You're not at fault at all, Nason. No, I am. So go on now. Kenan's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but without completely being any more obstinate, he disappeared. Even though Canon came to give me words of comfort when I was down, even though so I was dejected again because it wasn't him. That in itself was a sin. It went far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. I don't know my place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, already felt her concentration began to waver. But if she didn't finish cleaning up the reception hall, she wouldn't receive Nazi's permission to eat. That cruel Nazi had surely told the kitchen something to that effect. I have to respectfully redeem Madame's punishment. That's right. My position in the world is furniture, and I've been intoxicated by a dream that's beyond me. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe my 100 made my nose more sensitive. I could sense a delicious aroma wafting from the kitchen, even though it was far away. My empty stomach was encouraged even more. Until I finished up here, I wouldn't even get any soup. I just had to resolve myself into doing it. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. One of those portraits was thought to hold a special meaning amongst the servants. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion calls it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair, drawn as the subject of that portrait, was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of Kinzo, the family head, and also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo the gold of legend. We just need to get Nazi out of the fucking Ushirmiya family. Like, just get her out of there. Just let her leave. The witch Beatrice, master of the night on Rakanjima, she was gracious to those who respected her, but she would surely curse those who made light of her. Literally, like, half the characters don't deserve to be on this island. But, like, the other half do. So she thought of the portrait, her other master, as that person herself, and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. And it had to become part of her daily routine to tell the witch, who only existed inside the portrait, the secrets of her heart. She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain, cannot complain, nor she had no right to speak her mind about the difficult days. She had no right to open her mouth and say those words, so she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. She spoke her mind inside her heart, using words she couldn't say aloud, and protested to the formless witch. Of course the witch didn't answer. She didn't console, she didn't laugh it off. Shannon could only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was responding agreeably. Beatrice, please listen to the story of my worthless self. As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke that inside her heart. I certainly am incompetent and cultured, just as Ava said. I'm not that person, so I have no right to love. But in that case, why was I given a heart that can know love? At that point, Shannon held back tears for a moment. The sound of the rain, which had started falling along with the chill air in the reception hall, had made her feel as though her shabbiness had increased to another level. Real furniture doesn't have anything like a heart, so they don't have to love people, right? So they don't feel pain. If I'm just another piece of furniture, why do I have a heart? If it's going to be this painful and harsh, I wish I was never given a heart like this. I see. A heart was given to furniture. It would seem that even that man is capable of some quite amusing things every now and then. Well, the witch never answered, or laughed, or answered, and laughed. Was it my imagination? Was I hearing things? No, that's wrong. After all, the next words became a voice, and I could hear them, not with my heart, but with my ears. Humans have continuously searched for the elements that make up the world since before the modern era. It's said that in ancient times, the Greeks tried explaining the world with the 4 elements of wind, fire, water, and earth. And after that, over several millennia, humans added several elements to those 4, trying to explain the world with different interpretations, such as the 5 elements, the 6 elements, the 7 elements, the 8 elements, the 12 elements. But they were never able to describe the one sole truth that exists, the single element. However, a single man appeared by the guidance of a star, and finally explained the single element that makes up the world. Know what that is? Oh, what? Who? Shannon fearfully turned around.
Women!
Right there, she existed. Not as an illusion, but as a reality. A contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was no mere daydream. It's love. The witch of the portrait elegantly held a golden pipe in her mouth and giggled. She laughed at the ignorance that causes humankind's thoughts to stray far from the most simple answer. That man explained everything in the world with love. That is the single element. That man fully explained how the world was constructed with the smallest possible number. How simple and clear, how splendid, exhilarating, pleasant, and thrilling. The year that man was finally born is called the start of the modern era. Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should task that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew that person's name, so she refrained. No, surely it would be the greatest disrespect for someone who lived and worked in this island to ask this woman her name. After all, she was the other master of this island, besides Ginzo. Beatrice-sama. Indeed. I am Beatrice. Even after 1,000 years, I see that people will always give me that look when we first meet. The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. We got a tip? Oh, we did. Shannon realized that she had been met with a being that mustn't be met with, and she took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch's portrait was touching her back. The source of your troubles is love. Love, the single element that makes up this world. In other words, it is everything in this world. When it is lacking, then your world is lacking too. It is no different from scooting water into a canteen with a hole in it. Even if you scoop and scoop, that eternal desert of the heart never fills. It is the original sin that humans are founded upon that everything is made up of. Understand? When Adam and Eve put the fruit of knowledge to their lips, love is what they learned of. Because of that, humans were chased out of the garden, became fully human. Which means that knowing love and suffering is what makes one human. You kind-hearted child, you ought to be praised. Now that you have gained this knowledge, you're no longer furniture. You are now human. I recognize that with all of the authority of my name. Is it hard for a common person to understand? Very well then. Forgive me. It has been a long time since I have spoken with a human. Allow me to apologize for my talkativeness. Without waiting for a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while. Perhaps this isn't much by way of apology, but I would be willing to grant the wish of yours with my power if you so desire. Huh? The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance. There's a sound that plays every time you get a new tip. Oh, that's what that sound is. I'm offering to bring you and the one you love together. Normally, I'd demand something of equal value in return. However, I'm in a good mood, and you have never failed to pay your respects to me in the past. That is something worth rewarding. Is that true? Normally, Shannon would have been shocked and struck dumb by this seemingly impossible guest. However, almost as though she was already under the witch's spell, Shannon responded, "With my magic, it would be no trouble at all for arrange for you to be joined with the one you love." Yes, of course. Shannon almost said that without thinking, but held back with her last bit of common sense. After all, this is a witch, a sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks of my heart and take me prisoner. The sort of temptation which so many fairy tale picture books warned me about when I was young is right in front of me now. Fear is also a form of respect. It may be pleasant for me, but will make no progress for this way. I may not differ much from the image of a detestable witch that you hold in your mind. However, I do bestow my favor upon those who respect me. Aren't humans the same? Well, I doubt any human would bestow a favor upon one such with a hostile attitude. My apologies. I didn't mean... Shannon eventually realized how rude she was acting towards this guest, and she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are human. As she reflected upon those words, Shannon felt as though the witch understood all her worries. That was just now, about a reward? I say that I can arrange for you to be joined with the man who's captured your heart. Think of it as a sign of my gratitude for your diligence in polishing my portrait day after day. Calm yourself. I ask for nothing in return. I'm generous. However, though I ask for nothing in return, I do have a request. Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart has sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she'd read about when she was little had warned her about. Do you know of the small Taurian shrine that had been constructed at the ocean near the island, which you can see when you gaze at the cliffs? Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Rakanjima by boat, there was a torii and a shrine on a reef that was too small to be called even an islet. I'm sure even Kumasawa-san told me its history, but I can't remember it well. A traveling Shujensha, by a kind holy man, had built it and prayed them or something. Yes, I know about it, but why do you bring it up? I will not explain everything, including the very basics of one ignorant of demons. Simply put, it's causing me trouble. The truth is, there's a mirror kept inside that shrine. I want you to break it. It was quite the suspicious request. Shannon didn't know the details, but anything stored inside a shrine would have to be something sacred. And as she wants me to break it? Why would such a witch ask a human for help instead of doing it herself? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice responded to Shannon's reasonable doubt before Shannon could give her answer. The magical power of that mirror opposes my own. I cannot explain it well with human words. For example, let us speak on the difference between utensils. That mirror is a fork and my power is soup. You cannot drink soup with a fork, correct? If only the resistance of that mirror were gone, I could produce a spoon ideal for drinking soup. After that, I could drink soup as I pleased and even dig my way out of a rocky prison. I could even gouge someone's eyes out with it. Was that not the phrase? I don't know what you're talking about. If my poor education is to blame, then I apologize. It comes down to this. If you take action and break that annoying mirror for me, I shall grant your wish as a reward. I am in quite a good mood today. You may even change your wish and receive all the gold I bestowed on Kinzo if you desire. My power is soup. Beatrice the Golden, alchemist of the Ushiramiya family. Honestly, soup is an awesome power. I wish her power was the ability to conjure soup infinitely. I refuse. What? When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed. If you have a reason, tell me. If there's been some misunderstanding, I shall resolve it. I don't really understand the reason, but up until now, this island has been at peace, and nothing bad has happened. So even if I don't break the mirror, the peace that existed up until today should continue into the future. Yes, you are quite right. It's just as though you say. If you don't break the mirror, the same unbreakable days that have passed until now will continue into tomorrow and the next day. Why don't I give you an absolute guarantee? I shall stake my name, Beatrice, on it. The unbreakable days before this time will continue into tomorrow and the next day, and for eternity in perpetuity. Shannon felt overwhelmed by an eerie illusion. The mirror had probably existed for the purpose of restraining the witch. So if Shannon broke it, the person who stood up to gain supposedly the witch herself. And yet Shannon felt somehow she had to do it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched around. I will do nothing but grant you a chance to bring your feelings to fruition. It's up to you to decide whether you to break it or not. If you break it, I shall grant your wish. If you don't, the tomorrows that came before today will continue for all eternity. Your wish will not be guaranteed for all time. Do you understand? Do you see what I mean? The witch was speaking. She was pressing Shannon, saying she must break free of the mirror if she ever wanted to be reunited with George. It was a declaration that Shannon's feelings would never be brought to fruition unless she broke it. Please stop it. I don't want to hear something like that. It was never my goal to cause you pain. Oh well. When love leads to madness, that's when we see the true charm of humanity. Enjoy that emotion to your heart's content. However, if you wish to borrow my power, feel free to break that mirror at any time. And then you may yell my name and awaken me. I will certainly keep my promise. This way you should have no complaints, right? I won't force you to decide right now. Easy, is it not? Was it really such an easy thing to do? No, it certainly wasn't. To Shannon, who was burning with infatuation and worried by love, being tempted constantly and internally with no way out, was a cruel trial. I won't set a time limit until that promise But there is a time limit on the magic that can grant your wish. That limit is not of my making. The one you love will decide it himself. You see my meaning? No, I don't understand. When the one you ought to care for finds the partner whom he ought to pledge his love, that limit will be reached. I may be a witch, but I am no demon. I possess no magic to tear apart a pair of those who love each other. The one you love will soon be attending a marriage meeting, yes? You may have stronger feelings for that man than anyone else in this world. However, that doesn't mean you are the most suitable partner for him, does it? I know with whom he will be having this marriage meeting. That girl is the most suitable for Ushirimiya George in the entire world. She came from a good school, achieved good grades, and possesses composure and thoughtfulness. She is more beautiful than you, wiser than you, more suitable than you. How could an ignorant, incompetent, and uncultured girl like you be suitable? You know better than anyone. There are men less suitable than you. Even imagining that you and Ushirimiya George could be joined is sinful, and foolish, foolish, foolish. Know your place. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place. George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushirimiya family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Did you really think you could snatch George away? You uneducated, incompetent, unqualified servant. Stop it! Don't bully Shannon. Who the hell are you? At that time, Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the braid of Beatrice's words. Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. If this was an enemy tormenting Shannon, whom he loved and respected as a sister, nothing else mattered. Cannon, stay back. This person is... Soon Canson also realized that the being standing behind him was the witch of the portrait. And also that she was something to be feared. I simply wish to give Shannon a chance to claim her reward. But it seems I said too much and ended up hurting her. I must apologize for that. But I shall believe behind that promise as a reward to you. If you need my power, call me at any time. I have already told you how. Well then, let us call it a night. Hostile gazes may be pleasant, but they damage your beauty. Disappear. I don't know who you are, but you're threatening Shannon. Don't ever show yourself again. Cannon's words seemed to be deeply annoy the witch. Watch your language, lowborn. I may be gracious to those who respect me, but I am brutal to those who do not. While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. Then an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed by any of the fine senses filled up the room. Even though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized it was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean and something large passes in the water beneath you, you want to escape to land before you learn what it is. That's exactly what this was like. Please stop, Beatrice-sama. Cannon is still a child. I apologize for his language. Cannon placed his body between the witch and Shannon. There was a tense sweat on his forehead. At the time, the witch certainly held Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand. She didn't even need to leave a finger. She held the grasp on his fate so tight that a single twist of her smile could easily crush it. Cannon understood that as well, so he started sweating. His knees felt weak. However, Beatrice abruptly realized that feeling of tension and laughed. Very well. If you ask, I will forgive you just this once. Cannon, is it? In deference to her, I shall forgive you for tonight and to send you off. You ought to thank me. Well then, let us call it a night. In parting, I shall leave you with a small souvenir. Hold it out in the palm of your left hands, you two. When Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, their left hands stretched out in front of them against their will, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands now belonged to someone else. It felt like only their left hands had become puppets, which were being pulled by some strings hanging down from the ceiling. What are you trying to do? Ken resisted, but he couldn't even retract the hand of his own free will. Don't struggle. It'll be over soon. When Beatrice put her idol up, a gold-covered sparkling dust came out of the smoke and hovered in the air. The sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, forming a fantastical and beautiful world. And 2 of those butterflies alighted on the palm of Shannon and Cannon's hands. Ouch! There was a sharp pain as though they'd been burned. When the 2 of them tried to examine their palms, that hole in their bodies would have been there a second ago. Been gone without a trace. A mark? What is... There's now a tiny burn mark in the palm of her hand, and it was shaped like a butterfly. What is this supposed to be? Apparently Cannon had the same mark on his hand. He stared at the witch hastily. A simple greeting. I have no hidden motive. It is nothing more than a bruise. It'll heal in just a few days. There's not even any need to care for it. I made that mark so that tomorrow you'll not forget that I really was here and that I made a promise with you. An encounter with me can be quite shocking. Sometimes when the next morning comes, people try to think of it as an encounter or as a dream or an illusion. You ought to consider this slowly and carefully, Shannon. And you should probably take a good rest, look at the mark tomorrow, and try considering again. I shall not coerce you in any way. You should freely decide your future by your own will. Still, to think that one could obtain the object of their desire for such a small price. Surely this would annoy, to no end, the great artists who write plays about blighted love. Well then, let us meet again when the chance arises. How entertaining it is to have a conversation again after so much time. Goodbye, furniture. Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke, no, a cloud of gold butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden splash before disappearing into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. It was so silent it made both of them think they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago. Which was why the witch had left those marks. She'd done so to make it impossible for them to think of this as a daydream. Shannon and Cannon remembered the butterfly bruises in their hands and the pain they'd felt when they'd been made. They kept standing still, stunned. From that moment on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Whew! Beatrice's presence is so overwhelming in these early chapters, like the author directly visiting and toying with the characters she created. Yeah, I really love it. Her presence is like, you can tell that like, she's a very ominous presence, but she's also, she has like a whimsical air about her. Look at my new tips. Let's see. Tips. Next. Beatrice's first time being shown on the normal family tree. Oh, is it really? Now that you mention it, yeah, she wasn't on the family tree before in the other bits. Oh, women, I love you. Ugh. Woman of time, for sure. And also this, The fact that she's on the flow chart implies that the 19th person, she is the there is a 19th person in this story. In this specific chapter, there are 19. Makes you think. However, it is midnight. Do I want to keep going? Should we keep going? Or should we keep going, or should we wrap it up for here? Because we're going for about 2 hours-ish. According to my timer. I could be wrong though. Well, 2.5 hours. Up to you, conductor. Oh, that's so much pressure. Oh. That is a lot of pressure. That's much to think about. I really should probably... Okay. How about this? We're gonna go for another 40 minutes-ish until my next ad break, and then I will wrap up before the next ad break starts. When I get my next ad break thing, we'll wrap up. How about that? Another 40 minutes. That's fine. We'll be going for 3 hours. 3 hours is good. What? What do you mean separate rooms? Wait, so you and George stayed in different rooms on purpose? Is it really so strange? Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with a chocolate-coated Shinsoku biscuit that Shannon brought as a present from Okinawa, and it all came flying out and when Jessica cried out, "Shannon, why did you even go on that trip to Okinawa? You're even alone with George." Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. I like fish and stuff. Oh, that's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and girl going on an overnight trip, right? You're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses? And seriously, what's up with the guy and the girl staying in different rooms? As for kisses, no comment. We did hug. Jessica's like, this is not what I want. This is not the, like, no, like, you've been slow burning enough. Can you please get over yourselves? George's chest was warm. It's not the point. Jeez. Why do couples like this exist? Jeez, I can't take it anymore. From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons, but it looked like Jessica found her pace to be pretty irritating. For a while, Jessica chewed up her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint on agony on her bed. Shannon and George chose to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since their relationship had started in an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be to an aquarium, this step had some commemorative value. That's like a huge commemorative turning point. And your first overnight trip! How could you not make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms? A couple taking 2 single rooms? Jeez, seriously, what's wrong with you? But we are both unmarried. No sex before marriage! That's right, baby. George is always showing restraint and good manners for a couple. Like I said, the whole point of this overtrimmed strip was you can overcome that stage, right? You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging by now. Lily, I don't know what you mean by that, but George was a real gentleman with me until the end. I mean, also, I wondered if those things would happen, but it's not like we're going out. It's not like we're married or anything. Those things you seem to be expecting. They should be only done before making a vow before God and, Have you considered George as lame as fuck? Yeah, he's lame as hell. Oh. Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, relentlessly intertwining, separating and making heart marks with them. Apparently, the dramatic process Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her. I want a boyfriend too. I can't believe you got ahead of me. Even though we promised we'd get boyfriends at the same time, you beat me. I hate You're a wonderful person, milady, so I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than me. Don't try to console me. Shannon, you traitor, shut up. Oh no. Jessica threw several cushions at her, but midway she had an asthma attack and started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over by a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's broncholator. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around. She breathed in the medicine, and after a while, she managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought it was a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon in the head. She noticed that Jessica's on the verge of crying, half of her face buried her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek. "Milady? Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird? What are you saying? I think your hair is very beautiful. Then are my eyes strange, or maybe my nose? Or is it the way I talk, after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend?" "Of course not. Milady, you're wonderful enough as you are, and I think your charm will keep on increasing more from now on. But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Back when Hina managed to get boyfriend, but only I can't. It's because I don't have any charm after all?" Happy Pride, everybody. You know, everyone says they'll be bringing their boyfriends to the cultural festival, and I was so sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one. Before she realized it, Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course, she felt like supporting Shannon's progress in love as a friend. However, she cheered Shannon on. Her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. The rough style of speak Jessica usually used was just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Yoshimiya family, and as a girl isolated in Rokkenjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that, so she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only for a little. "Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry. You're a wonderful person, milady. There's no way you won't find a wonderful man. Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji and Mom will get mad. I'm just fine, so hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron." Jessica faced away, asking as though she really didn't want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes, but for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. "I also want to fall in love." "Beatrice, are you up to no good again?" As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the gardens, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking if only the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she said was not the witch. "Beatrice, it's been quite some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since we last met?" As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over. But this is a witch. This creature is devious in nature. Ah. A dubious little creature. No good. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. "Yes, thanks to you, it's going smoothly. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it." "I understand that." A witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that could absolutely be impossible under normal circumstances. Second, by the power of the witch that was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just wrapped up in those sweet days and started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well. Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget to even thank them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I can't help but act a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George together would never have happened. I have never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude, surely, is just part of my personality. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun. Yes, it was very, fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly as though amused with the speed of that transformation. Already, the one you care about is more than the object of a one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When two people filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. The smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart without a trace of malice. Another trip for the events with new perspectives. I believe within I'm gonna be real with you. I'm pretty sure this happened all before the events. Something is gonna happen during the second route that's gonna be different from the original, from the first chapter. So I keep saying route like it's like a dating sim. After that day, Beatrice shone herself before Shannon every once in a while. Every now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led her current relationship with George. So, Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared. That's right. Beatrice, I brought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you like to try some as well? Oh, a souvenir for a witch! It seems that even the witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hasn't imagined she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of the witch as a friend for her first time. Ooh, an Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of what Japanese and Western styles. The Silk Road of sweets. Wait, this is a really cute Beatrice expression. Oh, wait, that's adorable. What? What's so funny? Nothing. My apologies. The witch, who had surely had a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making it sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter. A good meal. I should serve you some dulce vita from Nero one of these days. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dolce would be appropriate for you now. Witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying the molten candy. She gets a little silly. She's a little silly. We love this witch. We love her. We love Beatrice. I'm here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this. The thing that Shannon subtly set on the table was a gold cutter butterfly brooch. There's no need to return it. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity. Maybe it was the power that brought us together, but I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever. Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill given to you. Having you returned it to me won't please me at all. Oh, my apologies. It's not what I... No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits, or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who's worrying about love, or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she had prepared several times in the past in response to a person's summons to give them a tool imbued with magical power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had been given with disgust. So it's quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like it in the past. No, maybe she still was like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch, a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around to her if she could help it. Surely, even those who relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to see that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. She was certainly something that tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked up to those to be in remarkably high spirits. Like, anyone ever said, yeah, exactly. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were shockingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places and unexpected times. It seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon was messed up, and Nazi got really mad at her, Beatrice started playing around, hitting Nazi on the head with her pipe. I see, Nazi really doesn't notice a thing. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking, and she got scolded even more. Beatrice is just, like, messing around. She's literally just messing around. Love it. What about the master? I hear he's been doing research in Massage, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice. Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him. As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest of magical talents as though she looked down on them, but she spoke about Kinzo in a different way. Having fun, plus having a... L, plus having fun, plus playing, plus witch. Anyone who connected to the Ushirimiya family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch, Beatrice. In other words, she must have some kind of relationship with Kinzo. That was because he succeeded despite not even having a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. And that's something really incredible, right? Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down about people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts. And then the master summoned Beatrice with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on the whim. After all, this period where magic had long been denied, there was a man who was without a scrap of talent and yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's when my luck ran out. Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon. After all, his contract did have a proper format and set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but, well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted it. Then I gave him a mountain of gold. And then Master used that gold and succeeded in business and grew his wealth to what it is today. Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on reasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as a magical power. See, so you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was pleasantly lacking in magical talent. Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Shirimiya family knew the story about Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold, in actuality it was all rambling that no one believed in. Now Shannon was having the story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew. Once Kendo gained his fast fortune, he could realize every dream that could be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world. The truth of this world? The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek. The single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. The witch, when Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry. I underestimated Tisto just a tad. I truly didn't expect them to display such power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place to this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter whom I talk to, my voice doesn't reach them. No matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades. As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate representation to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was probably a topic that she couldn't press on the witch easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she'd said up till now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason. And she'd lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot how to show sincere respect for the witch. And Shannon helped the witch regain her power, if only for a little bit. As a result, it was now impossible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this. Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror that you told me to break? Ah, that. Long ago, it seems that various things happened on the islands around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seems traveling eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately, that magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference with my magic, and it was extremely bothersome. Is that how it was? I just assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice. I was not its target, but it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when they try to set the table, the area for guest seating is in the Japanese style with Japanese dishes. The kitchen is unable to serve in a plate that should be out of place, and no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive, something like that. So you destroyed that Japanese-styled guest seating and returned the area to a blank slate for a time. Thanks to that, the meal I had ordered was finally delivered, and my power came back, so you could say. However, so far, the only aperitif has arrived. It will be quite some time before the main dish. As I am now, I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. She's hungry. Beatrice is hungry. She wants food. Feed her. Give her more snacks, please. What's so amusing? Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor of magic. I thought it rather skill comparison, but I didn't expect it to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended. A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing on the faces of friends as they enjoyed their tea. Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. I've gotten soft. Now even I can have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human. She was probably talking to herself. Beatrice gazed as the seabirds tracing the horizon. She put her tea to her lips again. The clouds have come out, and the ocean loses its brilliance. It's nothing more than a gray puddle. You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy. Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup. It seems those things burned in your eyes. aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels to be reborn as human? Yes. I never knew the world was this kind. Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she had been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her. You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you? Has something good happened? No, but every day is fun, yes. Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more? Yes, sir. That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her whole heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice, but she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly, knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn from furniture into a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was like to be human. These have been unusual snacks. It's time well spent. It's probably about time for you to return to your work, so let us end our tea party now. After all, there seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Huh? The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, subsing it in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush. The bush shook violently and Cannon came out. It seemed he'd been here from some time watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood. Do not worry. Our tea party's over now, Cannon. How long were you there? If you'd called to us, I'd have poured you some tea too. I imagine you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right? Cannon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect, but unlike Shannon, Cannon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies, which flew upward all at once, then scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done. It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring even to show myself. If you're not tired, never appear again. Cannon had said in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply. Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again. Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a bazaar of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Cannon approached her from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers. Nathan, didn't I tell you to stay away from her? Beatrice isn't that bad of a person. Yes, she might be a little shady, but the fact that only we can see her is suspicious enough. That thing isn't human. Who knows what she might be planning? Cannon, I think that's a little rude. There's a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. To Cannon, who knew her well, she might have sounded extremely stern. Cannon, looking excessively surprised considering Shannon's tone, fell silent. It's true that Beatrice is different from humans. She has a terrifying power, so I think it's right for us to fear and respect her. Still, I think it's incredibly rude to despise her just because she isn't human. I understand what you're trying to say, Nissan, but you've changed ever since she gave you that brooch. It's like you're her prisoner. She brought you and George together, and now you're indebted to her. Don't say things like that. That thing isn't human. We don't know what she's thinking, so you mustn't trust her. And we aren't humans either, Nissan. Cannon's word grew more serious. These words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head. We're furniture. Even if we receive names and are treated as humans, that won't change the manner of our birth. You're no longer furniture. Those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her the happiest, pulled through Shannon's mind. I am not furniture. No, you are furniture. We are less than human. Nathan, you're just pretending to have forgotten, pretending to be human, as well as I do. I am not furniture. I'm human. No, you aren't. We have never possessed what it takes to love or be loved. Shannon's criticism seems to have shifted away from Shannon's meetings with the witch. Shannon picked up on that quickly. I heard from Milady. Seriously, what were you thinking? I can't believe you would go on a trip with George. You've forgotten your place of furniture. You've just been tempted by that witch, mistaking believing you become human. Listen, Canon. It's true that we're furniture. Lesser beings inferior to humans. But if we're possible to make up for what we lack, wouldn't it be the same as becoming human? Such a thing could never happen. No, it could. If we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore. We can become human. Ridiculous. As if you could ever do such a thing. Canon spat those words out, but said so weakly and turned away. He's probably giving up. After all the suffering he'd undergone during the days he'd lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed. You can do it too, Canon. You can become a normal human. Stop it. That's the witch talking. Yes, Beatrice taught me. By obtaining the single element of this world, we can become human. Or rather, nobody's human if they don't have that. That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element. I don't understand what you're saying, Nathan. I don't want to listen to ranting. Then I'll teach it in a way even you and I understand. Look, see what I'm pointing at? Shannon quietly pointed to the sea, towards the horizon. Canon didn't understand what she meant and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and Shannon's expression, what seemed to be posing a riddle. The sea. Canon, what color does the sea look like to you? It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Canon tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently. It's a hazy, dark gray color. So what? Objectively speaking, the sea laid out beneath a cloudy sky would probably be described best by Canon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head slightly. It looks a deep blue to me. Is that what you mean? Like how Japanese people use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light. No, the sea is a deep blue. If I understand and you don't, then it's the difference between us. Canon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while. The trance of the torment Shannon feels when she talks about having a body different from other humans and being trust with the same emotions as humans really hits. Yeah! It's really... Her whole, like, narrative is so, like... It's so, like, deeply, like... ingrained with, like... kind of, like, learning to love yourself. And, like... being discomforted and discouraged by your current life, I suppose. In that way, she's really relatable. I quite like Shannon a lot. I don't understand. Canon, would you stick out your hand? As Canon was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. Shannon softly set something there. It was that magic brooch, which she'd received from Beatrice, the magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly that could lead up to fruition. This is hers? No, this is mine. So think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay? After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. Canon didn't know what he should do, and he stood there confused a while, the brooch still in the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Canon's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their hands. This charm holds a true magical power. I'm sure it'll teach you an important emotion, Canon. There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic. No, there is something. So wear it. If that's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your pocket. It's ridiculous. As if I'd let the magic of that person lead me astray. When he said that, Canon couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. In the end, Canon took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd proved that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back. I'm sure you'll be able to learn something important from it. And I'm sure that you can become human. And that when you do, I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Canon. Gray is gray, no matter how many times you look. That's wrong, Canon. It only looks like that because you have... No, blank. Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she'd just said. If Shannon said one more, single element of the world, she spoke once more of the world where it existed, and the world was a deep blue. I'm sure you'll be able to see a deep blue ocean too. After all, Without love, it cannot be seen. Whew. Oh my gosh. Okay. Who is that? It's Kennen, Master. It was weird for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that he didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood, but that didn't mean the thoughts filling his head were any different from those he had while inside the study. Kennen knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research. It's cloudy out there. Will it get worse? Yes. According to the weather report, it could rain at any time. Shall I bring an umbrella? It will not come to that. Leave me alone for a while. If my children ask, say you do not know where I am. I'm busy on a journey through my own thoughts. Certainly. Well, if you excuse me. Before Kennen finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Kannen's presence completely. And once again, he began rambling to himself. As amidst those words, the name of that witch popped up many times. Oh, Beatrice, my hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more? What is lacking? My research, my materials, my catalyst? Or is it magical power or luck or an oracle? Oh, Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? Oh. Kennen listened to his master's weeping voice with his back turned. He turned around just once. When he did, the right behind his isolated old master was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. At once, thinking the witch must have been plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Kennen dashed past to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body. When he saw the expression of the witch's face, the emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful, or merely pitying. You fool, Kinzo. Can't you see me, even though I am here? Right behind Kinzo, he repeated the witch's name over and over, desiring to reunite her with more than anything else. Was the witch herself? And yet Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. Why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon, the cycle of the comets, the alignment of the planets? What is lacking? What is? It's useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen. Kennen tucked the brooch he'd received from Shannon out of his pocket. By learning something new, he would be able to go to something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more. The witch could no longer be seen there. Ooh, that's some really... Genji, tell my children to leave me be. I must use my Prime sub for this VTuber. Maybe obsession isn't considered love? I believe so, yeah. I think this is where we're gonna end it, though. I think we're gonna end it here. Because it is almost no one. Only Shannon and Kennen can be... Yeah, only they can see her. Because they have the, They got the goods. They passed the vibe check. They passed Beatrice's vibe check. Even when she's right behind them or walking with them with a pipe. Yeah, it seems like she's kind of like trapped between worlds. I'm assuming Maria can also see her. I'm assuming like Maria also has the talent for it, I believe. I would assume. Because she can see Beatrice and others can, like the servants can. So confirmed currently, the only three that can see Beatrice is, Shannon, Kennen, and Maria. But I feel like something's going to happen. Something's gonna happen soon. I'm very excited for it. But, I'm so... Wow, that whole thing with Shannon was so... Honestly, I just, like, after every, like, single character. I feel like a lot of these long lengthy parts are like a lot of the longer like lengthier bits are very like character introspective, and they're really like, I don't know what it is about Ryukishi 07's writing, but it just has such a like raw and like very like, there's something really like human about the characters he writes, you know? Cause like obviously it's dramatized because of course it's dramatized, but like the way every character has a flaw, the way that like Shannon has no self-worth until other people give her self-worth, until she can be proved that she's like worthy and capable of being loved. And like the stuff with like Natsuki as well, where like a lot of these characters really can't really do much without affirmation from other parties. If you want to understand the actions of characters in a murder mystery, everyone has a motive for what they do, not just the culprit if there is one. Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their motives. It's like, it's been a very long time since I've read it, but, gosh. Oh my goodness. What am I thinking of? What mystery novel am I thinking of where like everyone was in on it? Orient Express. Yes! It's Orient Express. Yeah, where like no one is good. Love that story. It's really good. I should reread it. I think I've had, so do you ponder the physical disc? I'm still pondering the physical disc. I'm still pondering it. I'm also pondering some manga volumes that I've had my eye on, but they're really expensive and only in Japanese, so. Not Umineko, for a different series. For a different series of books, but, there's some omnibus that were only released in Japan of a series that I really love. So. But yeah, the whole thing with it, huge expenses this month, so I hasn't spent anything. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I have a lot of expenses this month. Since I'm going to AX this year, I'm very excited about it. Very excited, very excited, very excited. But yeah, it's like, I should really, maybe after we finish Answer Arc, maybe I'll take like a week break or two, and maybe I'll read like an actual book for book club. Maybe we'll do like an actual book club reading, of like a mystery novel or something. Cause I'm very busy with like AX planning this month. A lot of my month is like planning, and then at the beginning of next month I'm gonna be gone at AX. So in about 1 month's time, I'll be gone out of town from the 3rd to the 8th, and then after that Wednesday I probably won't have book club on the 12th, so I'm thinking we'll only have a couple of book clubs this month. So next week, the 14th, the 21st, the 28th will be we have 3 more days of book club until I go on my trip, and then I'll probably take a break until the 19th probably of the next month. So that'll be 2 weeks off from book club, but for people who want to catch up, it's a good time to do so. I really want to. I think it's unreasonable for me to want to finish chapter I think it's unreasonable for me to want to finish chapter 2 by AX, but, well, I'm nothing if not ambitious. We might do like a readathon like we did, like I wanted to do. If we don't finish it before my trip, I'm probably going to plan it. I'm probably going to do like a readathon where I read for like 8 hours or something, and we do like a long episode of the book club. But yeah, it's like I really want to reread Orient Express. I've had an audiobook saved, and like an audiobook version of it saved for a long time that I've been really meaning to check out. It's just good. It's just tasty. I really want to read like a bunch of the Hercule Poirot tales. I've only read Orient Express. Shockingly, I love Orient Express. There's a lot of Agatha Christie DNA in Umineko. Yeah, I think I don't know if we should do it after we finish the next chapter, but I would really like to read like actual books for book club as well. Maybe we'll read. Let's finish The Answer. We'll finish the question arcs. I think we'll finish the first 4 chapters, the question arcs, and then maybe we'll take like a week or 2 break to read through Orient Express again. Maybe. I think that would be really fun as like a nice breather, a nice classic breather before things really hit the fan in the Answer arcs. Who knows? Maybe we'll do that. I'll think about it. But yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to be, I guess I could talk a little bit about what I'm doing tomorrow. So tomorrow, have I not had my, I've been on just chatting this entire time. That's fine. I forgot to switch over to the actual Umineko category. Oopsie daisy. But what was I saying? So tomorrow we're gonna be playing Goody Two Shoes on Parfait's channel again. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna do some puzzles. We're gonna do a day. We're probably gonna do I don't know how long it's gonna take us to finish it, but I am very excited to play more Goody Two Shoes with Parfait. Perhaps a little earlier so we can get more done this time. But on Saturday we're gonna be doing some karaoke. Probably sing some Higurashi openings again, knowing me. I can't do a single karaoke without singing Naku no Hana nowadays, so we'll see what we do now that my voice has recovered from my cold, because I lost my voice for like a solid week. And I was really upset about it because I really wanted to do karaoke after I got back from my trip to Asen, but love Naku no Hana. Yeah, I love that song so much. It's so good. Oh my god. It's so good. I love it. There's so many like I'm so passionate about like game OSTs. Sakana ide hika I can't sing right now because it's 1 a.m. and I will get a noise complaint, but Saturday we are going to be doing some karaoke. I'm in the process of learning a couple new songs. I'm practicing my heart out. Not straining my voice obviously, but I've picked up a few tricks, I'll have you know, in my day. But we are going to, let me see who's online. Who up, who awake? Oh, Amai is on. We could read into Amai. Ashton is streaming. I'm gonna switch the... we can raid into, because who else do I have? Who's on? A lot of people are online right now, actually. Because there's a Mai. Who I haven't seen in a couple of days. I haven't. There's a bunch of things. Rin is doing her bunny-thon. Ashton is streaming. We've rated Ashton a lot recently, though. I feel like, well, it feels like I haven't rated her in a while because she's gone for a while. But now I'm like, Oh wait. Ashton just finished her stream. Okay. But yeah, there's so much going on. I'm really excited. I wanna play games. I wanna play more Umineko, but I need to go to bed. I have to be so responsible. I hate it. I miss being unemployed, but God, I need to pay for things like buying Umineko. Oh my gosh, I'll close that. But, what else? Let me move myself really quick. Alrighty. So, I'm probably gonna wrap up. I've told you guys about the rest of my week. It's gonna be really fun. I will see you guys tomorrow on Parfait's channel. We're gonna be playing some Goody Two Shoes. I think I'm gonna send us over to Amai in a second. Yeah, I think I'm gonna send you guys over to Amai. Take me back to Rokajima. Don't make me go to work. Take me back. I want to go back to Rokajima. I want to go back. I want to see her. I want to meet Beatrice. And then she's gonna beat me to death, I guess. But the thing with, but I will see you guys tomorrow on Parfait's channel. If not, I will be streaming on Saturday. I'll be doing the karaoke. It'll be lovely. It'll be very cozy. It'll be very comfy. But, here we go. Raid. Here's this. So here's our raid message for you. Our next stop on the Gehenna Express is over at Amai Umimaru. Amai is doing art and co-working. It'll be a really nice, cozy time for us to relax for a while after our time of women moments. I love women. I love women so much. I'm thinking about MILFs again. I'm really thinking about those Umineko MILFs. But I'm gonna send us over. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. And once again, I'm Sarah, I'm your local ghost train conductor on the Gehenna Express. Our next stop is over at Amai. Have a good night. What are your opinions on magical girls? As far as I'm concerned, all women are magical. That's true. But I will see you guys next time. Once again, I'm Siri, your local conductor over on the Gehenna Express, your favorite demon train to the afterlife, and I will see you guys tomorrow on Parfait's channel, and I'll also see you on Saturday for some very, very fun karaoke. And I will see you guys. Everyone be kind. Remember our raid messages. Keep choo-chooing, and I will see you guys next time. See you later. Chee-chee.